What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about why I'm getting Assassin's Creed Shadows, kind of. Now, this is kind of a new addition to this series, and I'll explain as this goes, but this is a video series I do where I talk about whether I'm getting, not getting, or I'm somewhere in between on a certain game. And I felt the need for a game like this. Obviously, there's quite a bit to talk about. I think this will be maybe the most divisive video I've made all year, which is crazy, by the way, because it's just a video game. If somebody buys it, somebody doesn't buy it, everybody makes their own decisions. I really try to push that on people, is to literally think for yourself and do your own thing, and I implore you to do that with Assassin's Creed Shadows. If you want to forget the game ever existed in the first place, be my guest, okay? Now, I say kinda because I want to kind of just add on exactly how I'm going to get this game, which I will start doing this. I'm going to start doing this for videos because I do this series quite often. So my plan for this game is as follows, okay? So this is a game that's been on my radar for a very long time. I'm not going to say it was like my most anticipated game. It was a top 5, top 10. I think I should really write this down. I did write it down at some point. I did a ranking heading into 2025, right, where I ranked all of the games that I thought were coming out this year, and I put them in order as a ranking would do. And I think I put Assassin's Creed Shadows somewhere in the 25 to 30 range. This is not a game, I say this all on purpose, this is not a game that's going to light my world on fire. I'm not expecting, everything, on planet Earth from this game. I'll kind of get to where I'm expecting from this game, but also, okay, well, how am I getting it? Well, that has to do with it too, because it's not a game on the tippity top of my list. Look, Ubisoft Premium or Ubisoft Plus, I think it's Premium. It exists for a reason, my friends, and I did this for Star Wars Outlaws. Going into Star Wars Outlaws, I kind of thought the same thing. The game looked fine. The game had enough to it that it had my interest, but I wasn't all the way sold. And I would say the same thing, maybe a little bit better for Assassin's Creed Shadows, at least right now. But it's the same thing. I'm not sold on Shadows, okay? I just am not, and I'll kind of get there as this video goes. But I'm also not saying, okay, well, I never want to play this game. I do, but I'm also not really interested in giving them $70. So as it stands right now, my plan is simply a rental. Now, I would make the argument, by the way, most games that you get are rentals. I know people say, oh, well, if you get it through the subscription service, you're not actually buying the game. You don't actually own it. True, that is very true. To be fair, though, most people don't own anything in terms of the entertainment world. Most people don't own literally anything. So when it comes to Shadows, I honestly don't really have an interest or care to own it right away, to spend $70 on it. So for what it's worth from me, I think $18, $17.99, whatever it is, to play it for a month is actually kind of a good deal. $18, you get to rent the game for 1 month, see if you like it, see if I'm even going to put time into this game, move on with your life afterwards, or keep playing it, maybe rent it for 2 months. That's a crazy idea. Or buy the game. So that's kind of my plan right now. There's other wrenches in it as well. I've long said this, and this is a part of it. This, I think, is just a legitimate thing, I want to kind of say. I love Assassin's Creed. That shouldn't really need to be said. But when it comes to the newer Assassin's Creed, I've struggled with them. I gave Origins a chance. I gave it actually a second chance back 2 years ago. Played it from start to finish, and I really liked it. I think Origins, to me, was the game I was able to get in and actually play the most out of all of this new stuff, the new age of Assassin's Creed. Origins was the one. Now, when it first came out, 2017 or whatever it was, I did not make it very far. I played 5-6 hours in it, and then I just put it away. I owned it. I got it on digital. So I had it, I played it, I didn't really jive with it, I put it down, jumped back in a few years ago, and I put 40 hours into it, so I would say I gave it, what it was worth. I played Mirage. Mirage was pretty darn solid. I played that from beginning to end. That one was fun. When it comes to Odyssey and Valhalla, I've told this story before. My wife took over the reins. I had no problem with it because I just wasn't into it. Those games are so weird to me because some people think they're the greatest thing ever, and that's fine. Some people have spent 200 hours, in these games, and some have spent 0. Some just didn't like it, and but it's just the range of opinions on Odyssey and Valhalla are so crazy. So when it comes to Shadows, because it's kind of part of that family, right? Same part of that game style, which I was able to do in Origins and Mirage, but I can't say I'm in love with it. The new age style. Not that the old age style is the greatest thing ever. I have such a great memory of it in my head, but I went back and played Assassin's Creed 2 just this past October, right? 3, 4, 5 months ago. And, that combat is kind of rough. It's special for what it is, but it's also pretty rough. So it's not as fun. I don't remember it as fondly anymore. And at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of the new one. So again, I'm trying to build the narrative, right? Like for me, Shadows is what it is. It definitely has a lot of controversy, don't get me wrong, but like the game was always going to be what it was always going to be. And I was never going to be all that into it no matter what. So I found this very interesting, over the last, year or so, right? As you have the Yusuke drama and you could switch between him and Naoe and stuff. And they look pretty okay. Now, I'm not really a huge physical guy when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Like looking at their play styles, and it's not because of the controversy. I don't even want to go down that path here because we've talked about it in the past. I actually would prefer playing as Naoe just because of her style, the acrobatics, the way she does stealth, and just the way she fights. That's more of my style in these games anyway. So it's just been interesting, all of the drama regarding these characters, and then from my perspective, kind of being a little bit on the outside. I mean, I've definitely jumped in and talked about it, given my hot takes, and then kind of, which people will say is always so tame, and then I'll jump back out. But for me, it's always been, there's been fights about these characters and about the controversy and the way they're honoring or not honoring Japan and whatnot. But I was always actually not going to play as Yusuke almost at all, just because he's not really my style of character in Assassin. It's got nothing to do with like anything else. It was just because of that. So it's been interesting for me. I guess I should probably get to this part, before I run the clock here. The game I think looks fun enough. Based off everything I just told you, okay, about my entire history with these newer Assassin's Creed games, my expectations are thus, and I feel very much the same as I did for Avowed, if you watched any of my videos covering Avowed. If I wanted that big, so for Avowed, I talked about like these big, huge RPGs that have all of this depth and all this complexity, and those are good. You can also have games that are a little bit more dumbed down. I'm not necessarily firing shots at games that are dumbed down, but to me, comparing like, say, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and then Avowed, that's what those games are. Avowed is just lighter. It just feels like you have to put less of your own energy into it to play the game. Is it as good? Well, different styles. Maybe some people prefer one versus the other. If I wanted that big grand scheme type thing, I would do Kingdom Come, which I did. If I wanted the whole, okay, I can maybe like listen to a podcast or just kind of enjoy the combat, take in the story here and there, but just kind of enjoy Avowed as like a lower level type thing, I could do that as well. Okay, moving over to Assassin's Creed. To be fair, there's not really a comparison. So like you can kind of compare Avowed and Kingdom Come in terms of the length and the complexity, the stuff we just talked about. There's nothing really to do that with Assassin's Creed, except maybe also Kingdom Come. But I will say my opinion on it is very, very similar. For me, I'm not expecting a lot. I never really was. Again, I think it all goes back down to these games have just not been the most connective thing to me since since I, somewhere around that time, since, 2011, 12, 13. Like, it's been a long time. And, I've played all of them. It's just that some of them I've played more than others, right? So for me, it's like, I don't need the game to even give me 100 hours. Give me 20 or 30. And I'm not saying I would beat the game in 20 or 30, but just give me, like, some fun time with the game. Like, let me just enjoy my time with it. If I beat it, if I spend 100 hours, I do. Do I honestly really think I'm going to? Not really. The way I see it going is I will play the game, probably enjoy it, probably have a decent amount of fun, and then my wife will take over, she'll restart it, new save, all that jazz, and she'll put 100 hours in and just enjoy it kind of on her own time. And I feel like that's going to kind of be how it goes. So it's not that deep. Like, to me, it's interesting because, again, everybody's different and everybody's got their own kind of thing. And I know this game is divisive, and I know this game is going to be a huge topic of conversation. It can either, prolong Ubisoft's life, or it can completely kill it. I really believe this game has that kind of power to literally, Ubisoft, I think, would still be around, but to end what Ubisoft is right now, that could happen because of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm not I want to make that clear. I'm not discounting it. And I also know, like, for a lot of people, what I'm talking about with Assassin's Creed is not it. I'm not describing it right. But it doesn't really matter because it's for my video on my channel. This is how I'm describing it. This is how I feel. And it's It's not that big to me. It doesn't need to be this epic, 100+ hours. Honestly, again, that's Kingdom Come. I got other games that I still need to play in 2025, games that come out before and after Assassin's Creed. I'm just kind of looking for a good time. And to be honest with you, I'm still, I guess besides Origins and Mirage, I'm still looking for that next thing to say, hey, let's pull you in. Let's get you to understand what makes these new Assassin's Creed games special to people. Because I don't really think I have felt that. I get it to a degree. I can tolerate it, maybe would be the right word, with Origins and Mirage, but I've never said, I get it now. I mean, I can kind of understand it like on the outside, but have I experienced it? Not really. I have not opened my eyes and said, okay, I'm locked in. Every game from now on is immediately going to capture my entire life. I haven't felt that. And so, is Shadows going to do that? Probably not, but it could, and that's, it's something that it has the potential. I'm not really looking for it to do that. Again, give me a couple, tens of hours, dozens of hours, of playtime. And if I stick with it, cool. If I don't, also cool. Again, that's kind of why I say kinda, because I'm not, at least to start. If I love the thing, I'm a collector. I like game preservation and stuff. A lot of these games I would like to get physical copies of, down the road, build up the collection and stuff. I really don't have any interest right now, though, to do the 70, to have it physically. It's almost like a trial run. Honestly, that's what it is. It's a trial run. See if I enjoy it. And that's a benefit of these subscription services. I got to give them that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and hope to see you all on the next one.